Diego Lopez with the statement of the month. Whew, what a spinning elbow, guys. Look, I I was worried for him. I really was. Like, first round, absolute domination. Second round, it looked like he was getting pieced up by Gene Silva, but turns it around. What an incredible performance. But now, the even bigger thing that comes out of all this is, what do you do with Diego Lopez right now? And for that matter, who is in the title conversation at featherweight? Because again, now it looks like we have a kind of a log jam at the top. So right now, it does appear that Leron Murphy is going to be the guy facing Volk. I think they were talking about December, but I don't think that's been finalized yet. And the reason why was because he also won via spinning elbow, and he's undefeated in the UFC, and he won in spectacular fashion. UFC 318, right? So it looks like he's next. One of the sad realities is that Movsar should be the number one contender, but because of his sort of boring decision-esque style, he's being completely ignored and overlooked, and he's probably going to have to get at least one more win. But then you've got the problem of Aljamain Sterling. He also recently beat Brian Ortega. Gives sort of a very logical speech at the end of his victory saying, look, I've been around the game enough. I've done enough. I was the bantamweight champ. I should get to jump the line. And I don't think he's wrong to make that request. So now the question is, what do we do at featherweight right now to kind of make things happen? So I think right off the top, you obviously do the Leron Murphy versus Volk. I think that speaks for itself. The question is, you've got sort of this trifecta here: Movsar, Diego, Yair, and Aljo. All of which were kind of in that conversation there, but I would say not really. So I am not interested in seeing Diego Lopez fight Volk for the belt yet. Right? He definitely needs one more win. Even though that win against Gene was spectacular, like Volk just beat him pretty handedly, I might add. So we definitely need another victory. And I would say there's two possible things you do. Either one, you rematch him versus Movsar. And the reason I say that is because if you guys remember, Diego Lopez lost to Movsar in the beginning, but it was like super short notice. I think there was no training camp, nothing like that, and the fight happened. It is what it is, right? And they were having some back and forth, with each other. Oh, now I'm ahead of you. You're calling my name. All these different things. So I'd be interested to see that rematch as a potential number one contenders fight. That would be super interesting. But then you've also got Yair Rodriguez and Diego Lopez and the beef that went on between those two guys. I don't remember exactly when that was, but I know that they were kind of going back and forth. It got super heated. I think it might have been Mexican Independence Day, something like this. So there's a backstory there too. You could do that, right? See, Diego's a fun guy because you could put him against a bunch of different people in the division, and there's always kind of a story or something that could happen there that would make things interesting. And of course, you could do Aljo. Those two have never fought, but that to me is a little bit less interesting. Aljo, like I said, unfortunately, he's probably going to need one more win. And once again, the question becomes, okay, who do you have him fight? Like the fight with Yair, that makes a lot of sense. I think he wins that fight pretty handedly. I think he can out-grapple him fairly successfully and kind of, secure that win and then call for his title shot. The other guy, of course, is a rematch versus Movistar. Movistar beat him recently, but it was so close. It might have been the most exciting grappling heavy fight we've ever seen. Like, so much scrambling. It was a split decision. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, Movistar just did a little bit more damage with like kicks and different things like that, but it wasn't a blow up by any means. And I would love to see them fight again. The problem is, I really don't think anyone's beating Movistar. I don't, right? And it's not that Aljo can't, right? We saw what happened. It's just more like, okay, but if he gets another decision, right? Aljo now has to go back and win a couple more. So that fight to me is too close. Like, if I'm in Aljo's mind, right? Like, on the one hand, look, I'm sure I can beat that guy. It was a split decision. It was really close. But if I don't, now I've got to go back and put together a couple more wins. That'll take me a few years. And so that fight I wouldn't want, right? I would go, okay, Diego Lopez, you know what? He's got some good jiu-jitsu, but I would say mine is on the same level or better, and my wrestling is a little bit better. Like, Diego Lopez doesn't do much in the way of takedowns from the looks of things. So it's like, that would probably be a better fight. The fight with Yair would probably be my ideal fight if I'm Aljo. Again, you never know, right? But this is what I would look at. This is what I would think would be kind of in his mind. And then with Movistar, it's really like I think the Diego Lopez fight is the one that if I'm him, I'm trying to call for, right? Because they fought before. I think Movistar has all the tools to win that. There's a story there. It would make it interesting. So that's where I'm at right now. Like, Diego Lopez, you put against anyone, it's going to be entertaining. I promise you that. But if I get my way as a fan, I'd like to see Diego Lopez and it's hard because there's the backstory with him, and I think I'd do Diego Lopez and Movistar, and then I'd get Aljo and Yair in there. That as a fan, I think that's what I would want, right? So like here would be the perfect scenario, right?
So yeah, the most fire matchup you could do would be between Diego Lopez and Yair Rodriguez. I think that would be like the most exciting, the best build up, all these things. But then you wouldn't get like two really good matchups. You know what I mean? So, because that one would be peak. But then, then you do Aljo, and you do a rematch between Aljo and Movistar. We've seen it before. Like, if I'm either of those guys, I wouldn't want it, right? And so I'd look at it and I'd say, to me, if I'm Movistar and Diego, those two fight, and then you do Aljo and Yair. But the problem is, whoever wins is next in line for a title, and then the other one's probably going to have to wait around or maybe even fight one more time. So that's the way I see it. This is what it looks like at featherweight right now. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you wouldn't mind, hit the like and subscribe button. Helps the algorithm, helps grow the channel. And we'll see you next time.